So let me just say, we may see something very scary on October 31st. It's not the mask, it's not the costumes, but it is the return of Anderson Silva against Uriah Hall. Depending on which type of Uriah Hall shows up, if Uriah Hall shows up on Saturday and is cosplaying as Violent himself, it should not be very fun to watch for an Anderson Silva fan. How do you feel about it?
Just throw a couple little factoids out right out of the gate. So Anderson Silva is currently 45 years old.
Sure is.
He has now not fought in 16 months after Jared Cannonier viciously obliterated his broken leg.
Sure
Okay,
did. Yeah.
so my expectations are very low. I expect Anderson to lose. The question is, does he get violently knocked out or does he lose a decision?
Yes.
The one thing I'll say is Dana very forcefully leading up to this has been like, this is Anderson's last fight in the UFC. Anderson's been like, I want to fight for another 10 years. But Dana's been like, yo, dog, this is your retirement fight. This is it. I want this to be, Anderson's wording of it is, this is my last fight in UFC. I'm like, you can go to Bellator, dog. If you want to keep doing the old man fights, that's fine. But old man Anderson Silva fights are not UFC caliber fights anymore. I don't need. Please hop in. I haven't needed Anderson fights in the UFC for like 7 years now. Well, a long time. Anderson stuck around way too long. Go.
Can I just say that if Scott Coker hears that Anderson Silva is a free agent and he doesn't immediately try and put on some sort of catch weight between he and Fedor Emelianenko, that I don't believe that the UFC would ever let Anderson Silva out of his contract. I don't believe that. I think that they more than likely will sit on his contract. But in the wild, crazy possibility that Anderson Silva gets cut loose, hey man, there's a chance that we could see Anderson Silva versus Fedor Emelianenko in Bellator. That would be a heck of a show. That would be a fight that I'm ashamed to watch, but definitely will.
Dude, just like 5-6 years ago, it would be an insane thought to be like, hey, Anderson might leave the UFC and go fight in Bellator or Strikeforce or something, right? You'd be like, there's no way the UFC is ever gonna let that happen. Now, I don't think they care. They cut BJ Penn free. They're like, yo, dog, you're out here getting knocked out in the Hooters parking lot. Go on, because you're what you were to the UFC. You're not that anymore. Like Anderson's not even a draw. He doesn't even do big draws anymore. So the UFC's like, you're dead, son. It's fine. Go on. I think they would totally cut if Anderson was like, I want out of my contract. I want to go sign somewhere else. I think they'd let him. I think they'd be like, all right, go on, bro.
I think you're right. The way they promoted Anderson Silva back a few years ago compared to now,
it's different.
I mean, this could be
fights they're booking him against.
Oh yeah, like they are. I mean, this could be nothing about this card or the build up to Saturday or the media that's been like wrapped up around it. Nothing about it feels like an Anderson Silva card.
No,
it's no longer a special event. That's what I'm saying. It's not a special treat that we get to see this, the GOAT Michael Jordan of MMA. You get to go out, step in the cage. It's like, no, man, it's not. It isn't that anymore. It just isn't.
No, what's not like so a lot. Everyone is like they're after the Khabib fight. They're like, oh, what's your top 5 for all time greatest list, right? Anderson is like hardly on anyone's top 5 of all time list. And like, there's a point in time where we're watching him front kick Vitor, and we're like, this is the most insane guy ever. Like this guy's on another level. And now it's like he's not even He's not in the
Yeah.
top 5 anymore. Like it's crazy how his mystique was tarnished so bad with the tests and with the
Yeah.
repeated losses. Like it went downhill so bad at the end.
It's not just losses, though. It's not just losses. The same reason people have a tough time putting Jones at number one pound for pound is the same reason, even though not a lot of people talk about it, is the same reason why Anderson Silva is not as high either. He popped.
Mhm.
He took I can't remember what
His was the Viagra defense.
yeah, it was the Viagra defense,
Yeah.
which ultimately was paper thin then, and it seems even more paper thin now. It's it's that, and it's a shame because um yeah, I mean it's not enough that his performances in recent years have tarnished him, but I think really that positive drug test um, did a lot
Yeah.
to tarnish him.
It's also like it's crazy the sport in terms of how much of well, I get it because of the fan base rolls over quite a bit, but so GSP left after the Hendricks fight's gone for 4 years, and then when he came back against Bisping, there was that whole debate at the UFC. They were like, "We've done these polls, and our fans don't know who you are." He's been gone for 4 years. Now he's been gone even longer than that, another 4 years,
Yep.
and they're like, "Oh, let's bring him back to this Khabib fight." It's like a bunch of these fans don't know who he is. They've never seen him fight before because so many fans have come on in this post Connor age, and they're like, who's this guy? Like GSP is like, yeah, like they just don't know who he is, and it's great. These people don't know who Anderson is either. Like Anderson used to be hanging out with like Kobe Bryant and shit. Like it's nuts. He was sponsored by Nike. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Sponsored by Nike Brazil, huh?
And now he's fighting on a paper or no, not a pay-per-view. He's fighting on a fight night on Halloween night. And my only hope is that he doesn't get brutally injured in the fight is all I'm really hoping for. My
And
goal scenario is him to lose a listless decision and then just get out of here. Quit doing these fights.
yeah,
It's brutal,
yeah,
man. They put him against Cannonier. Cannonier was so savage. He was like, "Oh yeah, I remember you like snapped that leg in half, right? I'm gonna kick the shit out of that thing until you fall over and we break that leg again." Like that booking was insane, and it's he never should have fought someone like Cannonier. It's just it's wild to me.
yeah. I will watch, and I mean, that's the thing is like I don't like to hope guys lose, but it's one of those things where I think that even though no one wants to see it happen, the best thing for Silva's long term health is that he gets shut off. Because if he does lose a lackluster decision, Anderson Silva to me is an honorary Diaz when he loses a decision now in this current phase of his career, because most of the time when he loses a decision, it just looks like he didn't care for like
Yeah.
13 out of the 15 minutes of the fight.
Mhm.
And then he's just like, "Oh, how'd I lose?" It's like, well, you let Michael Bisping jab you a billion times while you did nothing. And yeah, I would like. Granted, we would like to see Silva get a win right off in the sunset, but the sad thing is that Silva, just like most of these fighters, you give him another win. Um, that's just their sign that it ain't time yet, baby. It's time to keep this ball rolling, and it's just time's done. And I don't want to keep beating the dead horse. I think that we don't even have to give a prediction for this fight. We both have been pretty clear how we think this is probably going to go. Um, I think it's Uriah Hall's fight to lose. Really,
I just don't think right till like the Uriah Hall spectacular finishes like the first Gegard and Musasi fight. I just feel like he's not gonna have the same that. I feel like there's something when a guy's like coming at you and you're like scared, like this dude's trying to like take my head off and murder me right now. That's when you can do some crazy shit, right? Like, but I just feel like he's not gonna feel that against Anderson Silva. Kind of
No.
like Adesanya too, right? It's kind of
Mhm.
like I mean,
Yeah, I think that the most likely outcome of this fight is, like you said, a borderline boring 3-round decision win for Uriah Hall.
3 round.
Oh
Three
shit, it's a
round.
main event. You're right. Five
They don't
round.
even give him 5 rounds. They're like, look, guys, let's just do a 3 round.
Let's just call it. We're 3 rounds in. We know who won.